again.
Hey, I saw your twin
Again,
upstairs.
not-
Right,
You're like
I know.
Willy Wonka.
They don't know they are too. So here is where we do all of our laser engraving for any of our stones. We do it all in-house, all on this one machine. There's rumor about getting another one because this thing does not shut off normally during production. It runs almost non-stop. Bruce and myself are the two that run it. Bruce more so than mine when he's not on vacation. He just got back. Our job is basically to bring the stone in. We do that by opening this garage door above us, and we'll use the crane to bring it in and set it on the table. Once it's on the table, we'll verify it with the orders to make sure that the size, type, the height and width are all correct. And then we will use the laser machine, and right now it's off just so you guys can hear me, but there's normally a red dot that comes out the center of that tube. And we'll use that red dot to line up the bottom of the stone, and we'll adjust it so that it's flat. And then when we're done with that, we'll take that same dot and we will set the height front to back and left to right. The goal is this stone has to be within about the thickness of a dime to be accurate. So we'll use hydraulic jacks, basically just car jack, more or less, for a really big car. But and we'll place those jacks underneath this table here, and we will just jack it up accordingly in either area to get it to that level. Once we're satisfied that it's square level, then we'll take basically masking tape along the wall, and we will mask off any areas that are going to be engraved, and we will do a test run of that to make sure that all the design is centered like it's supposed to be, so it's the right height, top to bottom. It's very easy in a computer world to mess something up. An extra inch is a click of a button, and you wouldn't know any different when you're looking at it. So we test run everything, and once we're done test running it and we're happy with it, then we will adjust our power and speed settings to match the material we're using, and then we'll hit start, and at that point we can pretty much walk away. It does its own thing until it's done. And as far as how long it takes is dependent on the size of the stone, how much is on there. The image that you see here is about roughly 45 minutes to engrave, and probably about 10 to 20 minutes to do the leveling and squaring it up. Right now, you guys can, if you want to come to the front, you can reach around. If you go from the side, you'll get all greasy. So you can kind of feel the depth of that engraving. The stone has not been highlighted yet, so that is the raw form of engraving, I believe, right? Yeah. So there is a highlight that goes on it. As they were talking in the other seminars, if the highlight were to go away on a laser, you're probably not going to get a complaint about that.
Right.
Even though it's not there. It's not as bright as it was the day they got it. But
And it's probably the easiest to reseal too, isn't it?
yeah. I mean, like they said, it's you use the highlight and you wipe it on and you wipe it off. Fairly easy for a small design. Some of the bigger designs, you got to be pretty talented at it to make sure you don't get streaks and dry spots in it. And then depending on if there's lettering down the middle, you can't get any of the paint in the middle of the letters, so then you gotta, you're trying to highlight inside the letters, and so it is a little bit more detailed than say re-highlighting a PGC. But
What's the biggest piece you've ever had on this table, Tim?
It'll hold a 4x8, and I think we had one.
Oh, really?
do we actually
It might
have a
have-
longer one?
It might have been 3.5 or wide or something like that, but we have filled the table. Yeah.
I thought we had a longer one where we had to bring it down to the end to get the top half of it.
I don't recall it.
Yeah, I don't know. Either way, that was crazy and stressful.
Early last week, we had a 5 foot tall, 2.5 foot wide, oval top P5, and it took 4.5 hours.
Just to set up.
No, to run it.
Oh.
Yeah, the setup was probably a half hour. It wasn't all that difficult, but it was full of text with 2 images on the top. So basically, this monolith was covered with laser image, and so every inch of that almost was covered, which means that it didn't skip up like it did here to the bottom of it. It moved slowly through the whole darn 5 foot thing. 4.5 hours worth of burn time.
Mickey, was that yours?
That's like,
Probably.
but that one for Wynn, that must have taken forever. It was a wing monument. We only did half. You guys did the laser engraving on half, but there was all these like lotus designs and crazy on the sides and front and back and
We appreciate this machine.
Yes.
So much.
The longest burn we ever did, actually there was 2 of them. One time, I think it was Don invited somebody in to do a wood burning project. That took 17 hours.
We found out our laser wasn't big
The
enough.
most fun though was a motorcycle that was the shape of a motorcycle, and it was completely covered, and it didn't quite fit the cut of the stone didn't quite fit the design.
Yeah.
That took a day and a half.
That was Hanson.
Oh,
Yeah, get
Last
that
name
one.
on that was Hanson.
Came out great, but my goodness.
Oh yeah.
wow.
Awesome.
Lots of